Gotta have the right tools for the job. So this is how the volumes come. This one has 2 stacked into one another. The normal volumes have 4, but these were a little bit, we wanted them all big, so we ended up doing 2 packages, but those ship in 1 box, so it's still really affordable. So I'll show you kind of how big this is. They're really awesome. And then there's tons of foam in between each layer, and then they wrap it with saran wrap. So the best way to get into these is actually to flip it upside down, and then you can cut on the inside of the volume because they're hollow back, like around this section right here. Just be really careful with whatever blade you're using and also not to damage the back side of the volume. So I usually just cut down the perimeter like this. All right, so as you can see, I'm getting into the back side of the volume right now. And this is basically like the inside. So the inside's not super pretty, but it doesn't need to be. These things are made by, you have a giant mold and then you layer fiberglass. So they layer fiberglass in and then do a layer of texture, another layer of fiberglass, another layer of texture. And they said this set is the most difficult set they've ever made because the molds don't bend and it's really hard to get them out of the mold. So it's kind of cool. We really push the boundaries of what you can do with a shape and still have fiberglass manufacturing. This is like a real unboxing video, like the ones you see on YouTube. If you come in a little bit close, you can tell that this is the edge of the next volume, and this volume was shaped and designed perfectly to fit into this one so you don't lose any space. And this was actually really hard to do because when you shape the foam, they're just big pieces, so knowing that they're gonna fit in the angles correctly was almost impossible, but Jason's just that good. So I'll pull this first volume out here. Dude, these look so good. We were just in Japan for an event and they said that they look like big pieces of tofu. This is one of the smaller ones here. You can see there's multiple, each side of this has a different variation and in-cut level. Like these 2 sides are pretty flat and then this one has a lip. And then this one's actually a little bit wider for like a big sloper on this side. And then all of them taper out so you don't have the feature running the whole way. And they taper to a really flat, really precise flange for your screw holes to go into the wall. It's as good or maybe better than traditional climbing hold texture, which is produced a completely different way. So there will be a layer of foam between the 2 shapes, so you can take that one out. And then you can see how big one of the larger rectangle shapes actually is. Look how big this hollow back is. There was one day that I had to water the plants outside and I couldn't find a bowl big enough, so I just filled up a volume with water and carried it outside to water the plants. Secret of the pros. So you want to be a little bit more careful with fiberglass versus polyurethane. It's not as bouncy or forgiving. It's a lot harder and can get damaged easier. So you want to be a little bit careful when you're taking them on and off the wall and where you store them to not scratch them super heavily or drop them either. Wow. All 4 shapes are different. The plates are different on the top. The plates set at different angles. And then the different tapers and in-cuts on each side is different on all 4 shapes as well. Chris Danielson recently set with these in Colorado, and he said he was skeptical at first because he thought they'd be too easy. He said it was some of the most fun and best route setting he's ever done. And we'll have a video coming soon about that day as well. But that meant a lot to us after we thought, or after some setters thought like, oh, they're too easy. But if you set this on a slab, it's gonna be too easy. If you set on a steep wall, it's gonna be how it was designed. If Dave was here, he could balance it on his chin like this.
I think I gotta learn to do that.
I'm smarter. Pretty cool, man. Show them the Stoked climbing volume too, by the way. Our buddies from Stoked showed up one day with a super cool surprise for us. This is actually a volume that he made, and we'll put it up at the gym for a comp or something soon. But for now, we're just storing it in the office. It's the logo, if you didn't know. All right, so these are the other two in the set. These two pack into one another also. I already opened them, but I want to show you them on the wall so you can really get an idea. Actually didn't have a chance to climb the problems out in Colorado that Chris set, but I've seen a bunch of images and video and they were amazing. And then in Tokyo, we did a set with Toshi for Jason Momoa, and I got to climb on them then, and it was just like super fun. Felt like a kid again, and the setting was just, it was awesome. So there'll be some video footage soon about those as well. But here you can really see the different swoops and the taper, and you can see how it actually gets worse instead of if this line continued the whole way. And you can figure out which sides you want for heel hooking, or how you want to use the flat sides for squeezing. And this is on a vertical wall, of course, but if it was a steeper wall, that's where you're really gonna get some difficulty. And then this is actually the smallest one in the set here, which is actually still really good size also. So same consistent theme, flat on both sides, and then an in-cut side and a bigger pinch side with plates at different angles. And they're super easy to put in. If you have a small washer, you wanna use that, because it'll help protect the fiberglass over time as you drive screws in and out. And then we did like a little custom logo on them as well. Thanks for checking out the unboxing of the Wrecktangles. We have a bunch in stock. We just got a huge shipment, and I'm gonna order more because by the time this video hits, we might be out of stock again. Thank you so much.